hello, welcome to Represents. I'm very happy tonight to have my brother Simon Xavier, aka Klassic. Welcome to the show, my man.
Pleasure to be here, bro. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. So Simon, tell me, when did you decide to make dancing, pop and locking your career?
When I was younger in high school, it just sort of happened naturally. Started getting a lot of gigs and started dancing with a few different crews. And all of this sort of progressed to me trying to learn the styles from actual OGs. And then from there, I got really good at it. And I guess it became something that I thought was very viable and possible for me to pursue, just based on the response of my teachers and my peers. I was like, okay, I can make this happen.
Yeah, it's been really fun to watch, your evolution over the years. It's very skilled. Tell me, who are those OGs that, were your influences? Are they local or they international? Who are these people behind, saying, okay, I want to be like such and such?
Yeah. So it started out, of course, being a 90s baby. It's Michael Jackson. So of course, first person to inspire me. And I saw what he would call the moonwalk. Later on, I learned it was called the backslide. And that became like the staple in me going towards popping and locking. The group that taught Michael Jackson they're called the Electric Boogaloos. Mm-hmm. And I started watching this guy named Sugar Pop, who was like this really smooth style boogaloo, Popping Pete, Skeeter Rabbit. All these guys come from Fresno, California, the Bay Area, LA. More locally, my OG is a guy named Frank Boogie. He's not famous, but he is deadly on the dance floor. He's amazing. Very, very smooth brother. Tommy Stees, his dancing partner, and their OG, who's Jazzy J from New York. Right, he's from LA now. He's in New York. But yeah, all these guys all together, kind of, once you see them, you'll be like, oh yeah, I see where he gets it.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to all of them. So listen, how, can you explain to most of us, who are not, professionals, what is exactly popping and locking in your terms?
So popping is basically the dancing robot. It's isometric movement. So an example would be just one thing at a time. So that's the robot. The pop is the physical contraction of the muscle. So you can see that. So that's continuous throughout the dance to the beat of the music. And so that's popping basically. It's just boom, pow, boom, pow.
Okay.
Locking
I gotta learn something too.
Yeah. Locking
awesome.
Came first in the 1972. It was most notably seen on Soul Train, done by the original Lockers. And this one is more soulful. It's more groovy and dancey. You'll see like the points, the lock, which is just locking up your joints, wrist rolls, point, and yeah, various different moves. It's really groovy, really soulful. Yeah.
That's cool. So how many hours would you say it takes to perfect that style, right? And to reach your level?
Man, when I got started, when I got really serious at popping and locking, when I was about 18 years old, I heard about the 10,000 hour rule. And about halfway through, you start to forget about how many hours you've clocked in, and you just kind of roll with it and just keep going at it. when I was really, when I first got started and really training super hard, I would say I'd train about 2 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
That's like going hard. So morning and night. And now I do maybe like 45 minutes to an hour practice each day or every other day, just to stay tight, stay on point. But on top of that, there's physical fitness too, you know, lifting your weights, going for your run, staying in shape. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you have it. 10,000 hours. Malcolm Gladwell, if I'm not mistaken, The Outliers, right?
Yeah, that's
yes,
it.
Sir.
Yeah.
Great book.
Great
book. So yeah, tell me about you had a great experience a few years ago on So You Think You Can Dance Canada. Tell me about, you know, what led you to that experience, and what was it like as a pop and lock, you know, expert going in a world where, you know, it's more diverse, you know, styles and stuff like that. What was it like for you? Because you did very well.
Yeah, it was interesting. There was a lot of different training that I had to do, especially. Mm-hmm. So the first time I went to audition, I actually didn't even get past the first initial audition.
Is that so?
Group. And they saw me and they're like, no. It made me really motivated to come back and try it again. So I trained even harder in my popping and locking. Mm-hmm. And I went back with some friends to the Montreal audition.
Okay.
And I got through. Training took up to 6 months because they're running behind schedule. So mm-hmm. I abused that, and I took classes in salsa, contemporary. I think I did like one ballet class during that time, hip hop, choreography, just like getting versed and getting my mind ready for what might be coming and get my body ready for it. Being there was fun. I like being around dancers, so many different characters, so much different inspiration there, different cultures. So I thought that was really interesting. And yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, no, it seemed like a lot of fun, and it seemed like the judges loved you.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That was my favorite part, was like, I love, okay, give me a chance to just show you what I could do with this. And whenever I do that, that's what I'm good at. I'm a showcaser, a performer. And I showcase popping and locking. You know, those are my professions, or mm-hmm. my professional dance forms. Like Savion has tap, or, you know, same thing with Gregory Hines, or mm-hmm. Sammy Davis Jr., or mm-hmm. any one of the greats. Michael Jackson had his thing, so this is, you know, my thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's definitely a great opportunity to put popping and locking, you know, at the forefront, you know, for those who are not too familiar with it. It's definitely it was definitely a good thing. So tell me, as a dancer, what was your most the biggest challenge you faced as a dancer? You know, you just mentioned that, you know, you had to train in salsa and other stuff, but what, according to you, was your biggest challenge as a dancer?
Man, there's a lot of periods where there isn't something going on. I mean, you can go mm-hmm. to battles and you can do auditions, but there's a lot of downtime as well. I mean, you just ride the wave when it comes, and then when it dips, you prepare for another job. But yeah, that's probably the hardest thing, is, you know, you ride high and then you got low lows, and you just got to be ready for that whenever that comes. And keeping that life balance, you know, having something in your back pocket and just being ready. Mm-hmm. Always just, you know, my advice to young dancers is just always stay ready, always stay mm-hmm. training, but you know, work. You gotta go to work. You gotta pay those bills too.
That's to pay the bills.
Until you make it big. You just keep grinding and keep working at it, and, you know, hammer at that craft.
This is a great advice for the younger generation. Would you say it's challenging to be a dancer here in in the East Coast, Canada. Right?
It's hard to be a dancer in Canada, period. There's just not. I don't feel like there are grants. There's various things, but that we can look into. But sometimes it just feels like culturally, in my own opinion, that there isn't the same amount of support as I've observed when I go to Europe or the United States or China. You know, there isn't that same opportunity. Dance isn't as celebrated, and that's just across the board. You know, like I found that dance was treated the same as like acting or singing in different countries, whereas like there's certain levels to it here, and dancers for me always kind of had the bottom end, but
it's unfortunate.
You know, it's difficult.
But it seems like despite those difficulties, you've always been able. So it's something I always admired about you. Always been able to find, you know, to stay on your grind and find opportunities. Tell me about, you just mentioned about, you know, other cultures. I know you had a great experience in China. Can you tell me about that, what that was like?
Yeah.
If it was a culture shock. I know it seems to me from the outside looking in that, you know, as you said, they take dancing on another level. It seems over there, you know. What was it like? What was that experience like for you?
Oh, it was amazing. It really opened my eyes. It changed my training forever. Changed the way I approach it. Because, you know, it's not perfect, but everybody there has their foundation. And I'm not just talking about dancing, but I'd see so what I was doing, I was teaching at a college. It was the Chinese Music Academy. And so people actually go from their high school and they choose to go to this school for the arts, you know, or for music and dance. So you can do traditional Chinese dance. You could do popping, locking, house, salsa, you name it. They taught it and there was no difference there. The students, everybody had a solid understanding of how to utilize the dance because they ship in dancers from all over the world, from the US, Canada, Europe, you name it. So there's always an influx of knowledge and information going in there. There's always support. The level, the bar was completely raised on me. As soon as I stepped in the room, I mean, I stuck out like a sore thumb, so everybody was coming at me. And seeing like, oh, wow, they're all strong. They all have a really crisp pop. They all can stop well. They can go from the top to the bottom in an instant. And this is everybody. So, like, here it's like, oh, this guy has a hard pop. Oh, that guy hits the ground really well. This guy has nice waves. There, it's like everybody has it all. So I was just like, well, looks like I'm going to have to push myself. If I'm going to be the teacher for the next 3 months, I got to spend every moment training and thinking of new ways to get better before the next class. And it pushed me to new levels, new heights.
New levels, huh?
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So would you say that the fundamentals are a little, maybe the way things are taught over there are different, which, you know, makes some dancers maybe more, I don't know, have more skills earlier on, or I don't know. What would you say about that?
Yeah, it's well, like I said, it's like they have everything is on the same tier. There isn't that contemporary or ballet are on this level, and then hip hop styles or street styles are here. It's that they're all equal. They're all celebrated equally. Traditional, classical styles, they're all on the same level. Whereas here it's like, well, these styles are up here and these styles maybe not so much. So, I mean, there's that advantage. Constantly flying people in, whether it's OGs or young Gs, they're always bringing new people in to teach. And so they're getting
keep it fresh.
A wider range of knowledge for the dance, in my opinion. Doesn't mean that they're the best in the world. Don't get me wrong. I think Canada's the funkiest country in the world. You can't beat it. Yeah. And everywhere I go, it's like, Canada is the funk. Like, it's the funk, it's the soul. Like, we do the dance, like, we feel the dance more than anybody, you know?
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
Shout out to all our Canadian dancers here.
Shout out to all my Canadian poppers and rockers.
Yes. It seems like, you know, from the outside looking in again, it seems like you guys have the community has a very tight-knit, you know, relationship. Tell me about that. What's it like, you know?
Yes.
It's like, like across, you know, south of the border, Canadians, everybody knows each other. It's pretty special to watch.
It's a really, it's a niche community, right? So it's pretty small. There used to be a bunch of forums. There still are some forums on, you know, Facebook and Instagram. So that's how I got to know a lot of people, but it's just really about sharing the dance, the love of it, and the fact that there aren't as many people doing the dance as you might think. So we're able to pick and choose. Oh, I like your style. I hit you up. And like when I was in LA, I hit up a couple dancers and I thought, let's go meet up. Or I didn't get to, but usually when I go to a new city, I'll message somebody and try to have that connection and try to see what we can learn from each other. It's a really awesome thing that we have going on. It's like back in the days when jazz musicians would just roll into a club, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's always someone to reach out to in every city you go to. That's a great feeling.
There's always a guy.
So you spoke about LA. I have to bring it there. There's a video that's been circulating of you dancing with a famous R&B singer, Mr. Johnny Gill.
Oh yeah.
Tell me about that. That was incredible. First of all, I have to say that was incredible. How'd you feel about dancing with such a legendary singer? And it seemed like it was part of the plan, but yet it was so natural and organic. Tell me about that.
Like I said, as a dancer, you always got to be ready. I believe in my heart I was meant to perform. So I saw an opportunity. I took it. I didn't know it was him singing. That was the funny thing. I was just chilling out. Man. I was grabbing a snack and somebody I was like, oh man, I love this song. And my cousin came over and she was like, you know, that's the real Johnny Gill over there, right? I was like, say no more. Just took off. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, the bride's friend was dancing and I knew the move that she was doing. So we just kind of went off and went into that realm, you know, and that's just what you do. Like when you know the vocabulary in those 90s party dances, once you see it, you're like, okay, let's do Cabbage Patch. let's go into it. Yeah,
that's awesome. I'll try to put the link on the page. So
for sure,
that was such a great moment.
Yeah.
So Simon, tell me what can people expect from you? What are you working on right now? Where can they reach out to you to see your work? Tell me about that.
So I'm working with the Poppers Club. We're gonna try to put together a show within the next year. I'm working on some workshops. So if you want to learn how to pop and lock, I'll give you my Instagram and you can reach out to me and I'll let you know when all that happens. Yeah, I'm getting ready to get back into the battle realm. So that's something to look forward to. And yeah, always creative, always busy, always doing my thing. So if you want to reach out to me, my Instagram is Simon_X89. What is I can't remember my TikTok. I never go on TikTok. I just have a couple of videos on there.
Not a TikTok.
No, I'm not really.
He's a pop and locker. He's not a TikTok.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's all good. So I'll put the information on my page as well. Listen, I'd like to thank you. A lot of respect for you.
Love.
Listen, continued success. And listen, it's going to be fun to watch you accomplish bigger things year after year. It's amazing. So listen, all the best to you.
Thank you.
And please, Montreal people, support our dancers and Canadian dancers. Klassic is here, and we'll see you the next show.
Love.
Right.
Thank you, man.
All right. Thank you, brother.
Peace.